In this video, I'm going to show you how you can draw custom links in StructureGram and also annotate diagrams. So I'm in this diagram which is showing an example of an LRBA, and as we know, we can draw relationships between entities by simply clicking on an entity and drawing a link to another entity. And when we do that, this panel comes up on the right where we can select a relationship type, and these relationships will vary depending on the entities involved and the direction of the relationship. But you'll also notice that you have an extra option down at the bottom which says custom. If I hit custom, I now have the opportunity to create a custom relationship type or a custom link between the two entities. So I can give it a label, and then I've also got some styling options, so what it's going to look like. So I'll just say in this case, I want a custom link between these entities that says the SMSF trustee will make loan repayments to the lender for this loan. So I've made the label makes repayments, and then I'm going to make the line type. I'll keep it solid. You can either choose the arrow to be at one end or the other or both ends, and then finally color. So let's go with green, and then just hit create. And as you can see, the custom link has been created, so we can see the makes repayments, but it also falls in the auto layout for this diagram. So it's automatically formatted into the diagram with the rest of the entities and relationships. So that looks quite neat. So that is custom links, and you can draw them between any of these entities, change the label and the styling, and off you go. So the next thing I want to show you is how to annotate diagrams. So if I come down here, say I want to explain that this self-managed super fund is going to be the beneficial owner of this asset down here. What I do is I come up here to my annotation tools, and I can draw a line. So let's say I draw a line between the two entities, or between the SMSF and the property, and I make it say beneficial owner. Cool. So now I've drawn that arrow in there, so we can see that the SMSF is the beneficial owner of this asset. Now, unlike the custom link, this arrow is not going to be formatted into the auto layout, or it's not going to be a part of the auto layout. So it'll just stay exactly how I drew it. Now you don't just have to draw arrows, you also have the opportunity to draw or to create text on the diagram, and also rectangles and ellipses. So let's just say I create a rectangle. For whatever reason, I want to highlight this bear trustee. So now we can see a rectangle around it. If I right click the annotations, I have some styling options. So I can change the stroke color, so the color of the line. So I've got a few options there. The width of the line, so the thickness of it. And also the style, so whether it's solid, dashed, or dotted. Finally, I can change the color of the rectangle, and also it's the fill color. So if I go red, for example, we can see now it's a red rectangle, and then the opacity of that color. So those are our annotations. If I want to delete my annotations, I come up here and hit delete to delete all of them. Otherwise, I just right click the specific annotation I want to delete and hit delete annotation. Now I can also just decide to untick show annotations to hide them, and then I can bring them back by clicking show annotations. One thing to note is if I hide my annotations and then I move these things around, right? We can see that the makes repayment custom link is updating with the auto layout. But if I then bring back these annotations, we can see that they don't really fit the diagram anymore. So that's one drawback of annotations, is that they stay exactly where you drew them, which makes sense, but unfortunately means that if the diagram changes, it won't, update to fit the diagram. So that's just something to note, that annotations are probably the last step that you want to do when you're creating your diagram.